Welcome, everybody, to the Weather Desk. I'm meteorologist Taylor Stephenson with 13 News Now, a certified broadcast meteorologist based in Norfolk, Virginia. And daily, Monday through Friday, we have our weather desk, and what we do is talk about the top weather headlines, not only in coastal Virginia and coastal North Carolina, but also around the country and around the world. And today, we have some ground-shaking stuff we want to share with you here. We are doing the weather desk every day at 9 a.m. again, so make sure if you don't have your friends tuning in, make sure they know that they can download the 13 News Now Plus app to watch us Monday through Friday. It switches between meteorologist Craig Muller, meteorologist Hunter Forrest, and myself. Now, let's begin with the earthquake rattling parts of the South. It was some of the biggest news to come out of the weather world over the past week. A 4.1 magnitude earthquake centered not far from Greenback, Tennessee, which is in eastern Tennessee, was felt as far away as Charlotte and Atlanta. Residents startled by the shaking, which many were not used to in that part of the country, and being from Atlanta, I can attest to it. I've never, ever in my life felt an earthquake, so I know my fellow Atlanteans, they probably were like, what is going on here? Here's ABC's Alex Prescia with more on that quake.
Parts of the southeast bracing for potential aftershocks after a 4.1 magnitude earthquake rumbled through the region.
That's pretty common for around this area. 1s and 2s. 4, pretty remarkable.
The quake hit around 9 this morning in eastern Tennessee, just south of Knoxville. It could be felt across 6 states and as far away as Atlanta. In Wears Valley, Tennessee, this black bear approaches a home and then scurries away terrified. And in Knoxville, this family shaken up by the sudden tremor. And in Murphy, North Carolina, the rumble was so loud it sounded like thunder. The eastern Tennessee seismic zone is known for frequent small earthquakes. Seismologists say this is one of the most active earthquake zones in the eastern U.S. Dozens of earthquakes hit this region every year, according to the U.S. Geological Survey, and most of them are small and rarely felt.
If you do feel shaking, remember, drop, cover, and hold. Most injuries from earthquakes occur because objects fall on top of you.
So far, no injuries or damage reported.
And right now, we are tracking what is the volcano Kilawea across the area. And what we're talking about is that, but we're going to do first a little bit of a look back at what happened here in parts of central Virginia over this past Tuesday. I was tracking what was an earthquake, and that earthquake happened between Dillwyn and Farmville. Now, this earthquake, and I'll even go back if we can take these graphics full for us here on Max 1. That earthquake, as you can see in that yellow dot, that was right there between Dillwyn and Farmville, getting close to Charlottesville. People in Virginia near Richmond on the south side of it said they felt parts of that quake. Now I'm going to zoom in to show you again where this was, and it was right here, right around Dillwyn and Farmville, and this was a 5 miles deep, or about 8 kilometers deep, in terms of how far down that earthquake was. The magnitude was around 3.0 as we get into the actual intensity of the earthquake. And there's about 13 seismic stations around that region of Virginia. This is central Virginia. And that was after just 1 p.m. on Tuesday, this past Tuesday. And to put that in perspective, a 3.0 magnitude earthquake is very common. I mean, this is a very minor quake. People felt it. I mean, we had reports of elementary schools that felt the shaking. People's houses shook, but there's typically no damage with these minor earthquakes. These earthquakes, 3.0 magnitude, happen about 100,000 times per year. So they're extremely common across the earth, and that energy of a 3.0 magnitude earthquake is equal to about 1,000 pounds of explosives. Now let's take a look of what's happening out west. They're very used to earthquakes, unlike the Georgians, people in Tennessee and the Carolinas. They are not used to stuff like this, even up here in Virginia. But in California, a completely different story. Look at how many earthquakes have occurred over the past 24 hours. The red color is going to be in the last hour. The yellow color is in the last 12 hours, and the green color over the past day or so. So I'm gonna zoom in to this one that's in the mountains, and this one was a very shallow earthquake, 1 mile in depth, magnitude of 1.8, so very, very minor earthquake. And there's a lot of seismic stations around that, about 20 of them, just because earthquakes are so much more common out there in the West Coast. And this happened just about 5:06 a.m. their local time, which makes it around 8:06 our time here on the East Coast. There is one more I wanted to show you that was near Palm Springs, and this one was a little bit more of a rumble, but still a minor earthquake, 2.3 magnitude earthquake there. There's 58 seismic stations. Again, they are just sitting right in that area where earthquakes happen all the time. And we're seeing that happened earlier this morning around 4:51 their time, which is around 7:51 Eastern time. There have been a few more earthquakes, even as you get into downtown or near downtown Los Angeles. This one happened in the past 24 hours. And this quake produced a magnitude of 1.5. I mean, I don't even know if people even felt this earthquake. And its depth was about 4 miles, and the number of seismic stations around there is around 8. And that time happened around yesterday morning, around 10 a.m. their time, so 1 p.m. here in the East Coast. So we have a lot less earthquakes there than they do out in the West Coast. But again, we had that earthquake in Central Virginia that we covered last week on Tuesday, and the one from later on in the week for parts of the Deep South that brought them that 4.1 magnitude earthquake. But let's talk more about the volcanic coverage that continues right here on the 13 News Now Weather Desk. Let's take a live look now into Kilawea. We've been keeping a close eye on the Hawaiian volcano every day this past week on the weather desk, but because the U.S. Geological Survey reports it could erupt at any moment. So we're watching it right now, and I'm seeing it looks like an active eruption as I'm looking at this image right now, as you're seeing all the fire. Either that's the very recent lava that just happened, or it looks like it's erupting at this moment. And from what I'm telling, I can see the ash coming through. This actually looks like an active eruption. So we're going to stay on this for a little bit as we watch this really start to get going there in Hawaii. Again, this is Kilauea that has been erupting so many times. Eruption activity has not been seen in 39 years, and we have seen that's been around 1986. The current eruption started around Christmas time of last year, December 23rd, 2024, and since then there have been 19 episodes of sustained lava fountaining separated by pauses in activity. The USGS says episode 20 sustained lava is happening anytime now, and to me, I mean, I'm going to ask my producer in her ear, what do you think? That looks like an active eruption to me. She said, oh, it's active. I agree. This is an active eruption. So this is episode number 20 going on now in Hawaii. It's actually kind of blowing my mind that we're on it at this moment as it's erupting. And as you see, fountains of just ash and lava coming out of that volcano right now. Now in Hawaii, as you can tell, it's really dark, and I'm about to look up the actual time of a Hawaiian time we're looking at for Kilauea to see what time. It should only be maybe like 2 in the morning there at this current time. So right now, current local time, I'm just going to do Honolulu. I don't think that's in the same island, but this just gives us a general look at this. Right now, current time is 3 in the morning. So it should be right around 3:11 this morning as we're watching this in Hawaiian time, Hawaiian Standard Time, watching Kilauea erupt at this moment. Wow, that is a sight to see. But again, this activity hasn't happened in 39 years, and it's happened 20 times since Christmas time. So we are seeing what is a really big eruption going on there in Kilauea. Hopefully everyone who lives near the volcano is staying safe at this point. But what we're talking about is Kilawea, obviously a very big difference in geographic location compared to us here in the East Coast. So let's come back here into Hampton Roads, and maybe at the end of the weather desk, we can go back and see where the eruption stands in the next about 10 to 15 minutes. But today, we are starting what is going to be a very dreary pattern for us here in Hampton Roads. And this pattern will bring us multiple days of rain from now through Thursday. And then again, we're watching for a cold front this weekend, bringing another round of rain. So those who live in Hampton Roads, you need to stay close to the forecast. Yesterday's almanac, it was a beautiful Mother's Day. We had a peak of sun, mix of sun and clouds. We also had temperatures that climbed into the middle 70s. So it was a pretty nice day, right near normal for this time of year. Low temperatures near normal as well. But I think the people who look like they're coming off of the cruise ship at this point, I think they're going to be a little bit miserable about what they're coming back to. We're going to come back to multiple days of rain. Now, our high temperature record was 93 degrees back in 2018, and we didn't have any rain yesterday, but we're getting close to the halfway point here in May, and we have multiple days of rain that will add to our rainfall total. Right now, we're about 1.5 inches down from our yearly departure. So any rain we can get will put us near average. And I'm predicting that we're going to get at least 2 to 4 inches of rain. Here's Chief Meteorologist Tim Pandages to explain what a typical May in Hampton Roads looks like.
As we step further into spring with the arrival of May, the weather takes on a more dynamic character, often changing significantly as the month progresses. Here's what you can expect as we move through this transitional time of year. Temperatures steadily climb throughout the month. Early May typically brings afternoon highs in the mid-70s, but by month's end, we're seeing highs in the low 80s. Overnight lows follow a similar warming trend. Rainfall becomes a more prominent feature this time of the year. On average, Norfolk receives just under 4 inches of rain in May. However, it can be much wetter. Back in 1979, the area saw a record-setting 10 inches of rainfall during the month. May has also brought its share of temperature extremes. The hottest May day on record in Norfolk hit a sweltering 100 degrees on May 31st, 1991. On the opposite end of the spectrum, the coldest May temperature recorded was a chilly 36 degrees on May 11th, 1966. Now, one of the best things about May is the noticeable increase in daylight. By the end of the month, we gained nearly 47 minutes of additional sunlight. And here's a seasonal milestone to look forward to. Starting May 8th, sunset will occur after 8 p.m. and it'll stay that way until mid-August. It's a month of change, growth, and longer evenings. Everything you'd hope for as we move forward to summer.
I think that's my most favorite part about this whole thing is that sunsets are finally after 8 p.m. It just feels right, right? And then sunrises are before 6 a.m. now. So we have much longer days. It just feels like summer is approaching. But this week feels like we're going to have summertime downpours. And so what we're expecting is a weather impact alert. I've issued that on the Sunday for Tuesday because of that flash flooding potential for tomorrow, as we're watching for very active low pressure system to come through our area that will bring us widespread heavy rainfall for your Tuesday. The need for tomorrow is very simple. Please turn around, don't drown. That's our mantra. That means that if you see flooded roadways, you turn the other direction. Do not try to go through it because it looks much deeper than it is. And those for my friends who live in Norfolk, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Ghent and some of those other places on Tidewater Drive, those flood very easily, especially those underpasses as well. So do not try to risk it. Try your best to find an alternate route. Now, what we're watching for is what is a very cloudy start to our day. We had a couple of isolated showers, but do you see this stalled front here? That's all the way connected to the low pressure system here as you head near Memphis. It's a very dynamic system. This is the same system that will be bringing us that rainfall here across Hampton Roads over the next few days. And so we're watching for that potential of seeing that heavy rainfall coming through our area. And this will bring us not only some beneficial rainfall, but also could provide us with the potential for flash flooding, which is why I issued that weather impact alert. But we also could see thunderstorms mixed in there as well. So let's talk about what we've seen so far this morning, aside from the scattered to isolated showers that were light in nature. We had lows this morning on the more comfortable side for this time of year, upper 50s to lower 60s, even some upper 60s in North Carolina. And you can kind of tell where the cloud cover was. The cloud cover was really around North Carolina because temperatures were the warmest. Think of cloud cover overnight as a blanket. You're laying in your bed, you got a blanket on you, and it's so warm between you and the blanket because all that heat's being trapped in. It's the same way with cloud cover and the surface. When you have cloud cover, all that heat gets trapped in there, and so temperatures are more likely to stay elevated overnight. And so that's why you have upper 60s in places like Elizabeth City and Eatonton. But look to the north, Tappahannock, Walbs Island, Saluda, up in the peninsulas. We didn't have cloud cover overnight there. So temperatures are almost 20 degrees cooler in Tappahannock, Walbs Island, and Saluda compared to down in northeast North Carolina around the Albemarle because of those clouds that really kept us warm overnight. But we've all risen since that time this morning. Now temperatures around 9:18 this morning are back in the middle to upper 60s and lower 70s. Right now we're at 69 in Norfolk, 70 in Currituck, 69 in Gloucester, 75 though in Hertford, 64 in Roanoke Rapids, 69 in Portsmouth, and 67 now in Wachapreague. So it is a mild morning. You may, for those people who get a little bit more cold natured, you may need a light jacket, but otherwise it's a pretty nice morning. But we have had some isolated showers, and that potential could continue as we head into the rest of your day today. Now, the heaviest rainfall will stay to the I-95 corridor and west, and I'll point this out with my little pointer. This is really right here around the I-95 corridor. All the heavy rainfall will stay in this general area from Richmond down to Emporia, Hosky, Franklin, and back in this kind of oval, and then out to the west where they do have a level 2 risk for flash flooding today. You can see the heavy downpours around the area later on this evening, but notice places around the coastline are pretty much unscathed from the heavy rainfall for today, but that threat changes as we get into tomorrow. Later on tonight, the rain becomes much more widespread, where you're seeing really heavy downpours coming through our western areas, and this will track slowly from southwest to northeast. So if you aren't seeing heavy rainfall yet, and a lot of people ask us, okay, well, what about my area? Just wait, because this will transition over into the eastern portion of the viewing area for the heart of Hampton Roads as we get into the heart of the work commute tomorrow and through lunchtime, tapering off as we get into the afternoon and evening, which I'll show you in a second. But the reason why I pulled the trigger on the weather impact alert, again, is for that risk of flash flooding. We're in a level 2 out of 4 risk for flash flooding today, all throughout Hampton Roads into northeast North Carolina and up into the Piedmont and into Richmond, around the eastern shore, around the Outer Banks, a level 1. So it's not 0, but it's less than the dark green area you're seeing here. Now, you may be wondering, okay, I'm seeing these categories, but what do they really mean? Well, thankfully, my colleague, meteorologist Hunter Forrest, breaks down the risk categories for potential flash flooding.
The Weather Prediction Center issues an excessive rainfall outlook that is used to inform the public whenever there is a risk of flash flooding. This can help show how likely you are to encounter flash flooding if you were to drive within 25 miles of your home. Level 1 here in this green color is considered a marginal risk and is issued when isolated floods are possible. Any floods that develop are expected to be localized and primarily affect places that can experience rapid runoff and poor drainage and heavy rainfall. Level 2 is considered a slight risk and is issued when scattered flash floods are possible, but any flooding that occurs is expected to be mainly localized. Those who are most vulnerable are urban areas, roads, and small streams, but isolated significant flash floods are also still possible under this level 2 risk. Level 3 is a moderate risk and is issued when heavy rain will likely lead to numerous flash flooding events, with some potentially being significant. Many streams may flood and large rivers could be impacted as well. Level 4 is the highest risk you can get on the excessive rainfall outlook and is only used in extremely rare circumstances. This is issued when widespread flash flooding is expected, and heavy rain will likely cause severe and widespread flash flooding even in areas that don't normally experience it. As always, it's important to remember that water can be extremely powerful, so whenever there's a risk of flash flooding for your area, make sure to stay tuned to the forecast. For 13 News Now, I'm meteorologist Hunter Forst.
I'm glad we have that in-depth look, because sometimes we have risk categories, and we just say level 2 out of 4, or level 1 out of 5, and sometimes that doesn't really mean anything to you as a viewer, so it's nice when you have those breakdowns. Thank you so much, Hunter. Let's get back into this forecast, because we do have that level 2 out of 4 risk for flooding tomorrow here across the area, meaning that we have the potential to see some flooding in urban areas and poor drainage areas. So let's take a look at this Futurecast we have here across our area. Widespread rainfall, but light. We'll start off around midnight to 1 a.m. tomorrow morning. The heaviest rainfall getting going around 4 to 4:30 for our western areas. Temperatures will struggle tomorrow. We'll be in the middle to upper 60s and lower 70s throughout the morning on Tuesday, and that's as far as we'll go due to the rain-cooled air and the cloud cover we have in place. Tomorrow will also be a very breezy day as well. We'll see wind gusts as high as about 25 to 30 miles per hour. Around the eastern shore, we could have wind gusts up to 45 miles per hour. So a very breezy day. Heavy rainfall starts to build in for our coastal areas right around lunchtime and starts to roll up during the afternoon and evening. Big bursts of rain through the evening time. Then we get a break late on Tuesday, but we're watching as this low pressure system continues its track towards our area, and this will bring us another round of rain for heavy downpours and thunderstorms, which we have the risk for thunderstorms tomorrow as well for Tuesday, but also for Wednesday. Finally, by Thursday, this system is making its way out to sea, but we're watching for our next cold front that will bring us some rain into the picture on your Saturday as well. I'm sorry, I'm going to your Saturday. So Friday should be okay, but as we're getting into your rainfall potential, we could pick up anywhere from about 2 to 4 inches of rainfall here across Hampton Roads in northeast North Carolina, Monday through Thursday. And so it will be a very big rainmaker, which should help us get back right near those normal departures or normal rainfall totals for this time of year. So that will help us. And in places like the Albemarle Sound, we're underneath a severe drought here across the area for Elizabeth City, Eatonton, down through that area and into northeast North Carolina. We have abnormally dry conditions stretching all the way up past the Virginia, North Carolina border into parts of Chesapeake, Virginia Beach, and even as we get into southern and southeastern portions of Suffolk. So overall, a very rainy week for us. Temperatures today in the upper 70s, middle 70s tomorrow, and then we'll have the potential for thunderstorms on Tuesday and Wednesday. They should stay sub-severe, which means they should not make it to the severe category, but we will have some lightning and thunder. Flooding possible on Tuesday, rain still likely on Wednesday. That low finally pulls offshore as we get into Thursday evening, taking away those rain chances. We'll have showers late on Friday. Highs on Friday, though, reaching near 90 degrees. So finally feeling more like we're at the beach here in Hampton Roads in northeast North Carolina. And then scattered showers return to the forecast along our cold front on Saturday. Highs this weekend will be in the middle to upper 80s, but at least on Sunday, we finally get a good break from the rain, with mostly sunny skies continuing. Let's talk about a new topic, though. In March 1972, the Soviet Union launched several spacecrafts that was set to land on Venus, but one of them never landed on Venus or Earth until now. Cosmo 482 has been stuck in the Earth's orbit for decades, but the European Space Agency says that the spacecraft's re-entry already happened during an anticipated pass just before 3:30 a.m. on Friday. Right now, there's no word on when or where it landed, but it did land on one of the hottest parts, one of the hottest planets in our solar system. Meteorologist Hunter Forrest has more on what you should know about Mercury and Venus.
With a lot of talk about space recently, have you ever wondered which are the hottest planets in the solar system? You'd think the closer you are to the sun, the hotter they must be. Now, that's mostly true, except for Mercury and Venus. Even though Mercury is the closest planet to the sun, it's the second hottest and orbits on average 36 million miles away from our shining star. During the day, surface temperatures can reach up to 800 degrees Fahrenheit, while at night they can drop dramatically to about 290 degrees below zero. This significant difference is primarily due to Mercury's lack of an atmosphere, which means it can't really retain heat. Instead of an atmosphere, Mercury possesses a thin exosphere made up of atoms spewed off by the surface solar winds and meteoroids. Mercury's exosphere is composed mostly of oxygen, sodium, hydrogen, helium, and potassium. Venus, on the other hand, is the second closest planet to the sun, orbiting 67 million miles away, but it's the hottest planet in the solar system. But why? It has to do with Venus's atmosphere, made up of 96% carbon dioxide, which is a greenhouse gas that traps sunlight and keeps it near the surface, known as the greenhouse effect. And well, Venus has a runaway greenhouse effect. The amount of carbon dioxide in Venus's atmosphere traps all the sunlight that manages to penetrate the cloud layers of Venus. The sun's heat cannot escape, and it builds on the surface, causing temperatures to be extreme and creating an average surface temperature of 864 degrees. Luckily, here on Earth, the global average temperature is a comfortable 59 degrees. For 13 News Now, I'm meteorologist Hunter Forrest.
And to make sure that we all understand, that spacecraft did not make it to Venus. It landed back on Earth, but we do not know where or when. But again, something to know is that we do have those two hottest planets, Mercury and Venus. Thank you so much, Hunter. Another hot thing we're tracking is the 20th eruption since December, since really Christmas time, right around December 23rd, for Kilawea. This is a 20th eruption happening right now. It's around 3:30 in the morning there in Hawaii. Look at that eruption. I mean, literally my weather mind exploded as I watched this explosion go on. And the eruption in Kilauea has not happened in 39 years prior to when it first erupted back in December of 2024. And now we are witnessing in real time the 20th eruption of Kilauea. This has been a great weather desk tracking Kilauea and tracking the storms here with you across Hampton Roads. Remember, a weather impact alert remains in effect for Tuesday as we're tracking the potential for flash flooding. Remember, you can always get the latest news, traffic, and weather on the go using the 13 News Now app. Scan the QR code on your screen to download the app now. It's free on the App Store and Google Play. You can also download our 13 News Now Plus app on your Amazon Fire, Roku, or Apple TV today so that you can continue to watch the Weather Desk and encourage your friends to also watch. We have the Weather Desk every Monday through Friday starting at 9 a.m. where we go through the top weather headlines with you across the nation, across Hampton Roads in Northeast North Carolina, across the world. And again, remember that your favorite meteorologist just showed you the 20th eruption of Kilauea. I'm meteorologist Taylor Stephenson for 13 News Now. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll be back tomorrow with your top weather headlines. Have a great day.